This week, the Parsha is Parshas Shoftim. Shoftim begins by discussing judges, how judges render their judgment, how they should act, and so on. And of course, it talks about bribery. And it says, why is bribery wrong? What will happen if a judge accepts a bribe? What are the ramifications? So it says, "Hashoiched ya'aver einei chacham." It says, bribes will blind the eyes of the wise, v'salev divrei tzadikim, and twist just and righteous words. So the first half of that phrase we understand. The first half of the phrase says that if you accept a bribe and you're trying to render judgment between two parties, the party that gave you the bribe obviously will have in your mind you will be biased towards that party because he gave you a bribe, whether you like it or not. No matter how well-meaning you are not, however you think that you can stay cold to that bribe, you will not, because you will be biased. The second part, though, is harder to understand. And it says, just words become crooked through bribery. Now, just righteous words, however you want to translate, means that the judgment was correct. It was accurate, and it was what should have been done. Even if there was no bribe, this is what would have happened. But the issue is that you took a bribe. Now, what's the problem? It's an accurate judgment. The person who was supposed to walk out victorious did. So it ends fine. It's a happy ending. So who cares that the judge took a bribe? How does that make his just words crooked? Of course, morally it's wrong, but how does it make just words crooked? They're just words. Maybe with bad intentions, but just words nonetheless. So there's a pasuk in Mishlei which says, "My child, do not let them stray from your eyes. Safeguard the eternal Torah and its wise design. They will be life to your soul and a graceful ornament for your neck." The Malbim, explaining this verse, these two verses I should say, says that what it's saying over here is that a person should safeguard the Torah and its wise design. Because if he does, they will be an ornament for his neck. What does this mean? It means that it's not enough just to keep Torah, follow what it says. A person has to keep the reason, the design, what he learned in his mind all the time. You see this very often. A person who is in consistent growth in his learning, in acquiring Torah knowledge, in his actions, you can see the difference. Now, he may do just as much as the next guy who doesn't learn, who doesn't try to acquire more knowledge, but there's more depth to his actions. There's more feeling, there's more emotion, he watches over what he does much more carefully. He does it with much more zeal. So this verse, these two verses in Mishlei are saying that if a person keeps the Torah and keeps in mind its wise design, understanding it, trying to acquire more knowledge, his actions will be different because they'll be an ornament for his neck. Meaning that people can perceive when a person is doing something and understanding it. The Malbim says that if a person wants ruach habrius noicha hemenu, if he wants people to appreciate and he wants people to find him favorable when he acts according to the Torah, he has to keep its design. Then there'll be an ornament for your neck. Not just keeping the words of the Torah, not just going through the actions, understanding its design, understanding what you're doing, trying to acquire more knowledge. And through that, people will look at you and look at what you do in a different light. And it's for this reason that a judge who renders a correct judgment cannot take a bribe. Because even if he renders the correct judgment, if he takes a bribe, people are going to know. You're going to say, how can they know? They know. People can perceive these things. We don't give people enough credit. They can tell when a judge takes a bribe, even though he renders an accurate and correct judgment. Just a small question on this beginning of this week's parsha. It says in the very first pasuk, "Shoftim v'shoitrim titan lecha b'chol sharecha." Asher Hashem Elokecha noisen lecha l'shvatecha. You should put judges and officers in place who enforce the judgment in all of your gates that Hashem has given you to your tribes. Rashi says that every single gate of every single city had a court. That's why it says bechol sharecha, in all of your gates. And then it says lishvatecha, it says to your tribes, that every single tribe had a court. Now here is a very simple question. If every gate, meaning every single city, had a court, then why would the verse have to tell us that every tribe has to have a court? Have a great Shabbos.